Well, hello, rally friends. Welcome back to the kitchen table. As always these days, it's been far too long, hasn't it, since I talked to you at the kitchen table. I say this every time, but I mean it this time. There will be more regular kitchen tables. Do you know what? I was at Rally Day at Castle Coombe at the weekend, and it was fantastic. It was just fantastic. There were so many great cars, so many great characters, and so many fabulous rally fans out there. And the number of people that said to me, when's the next kitchen table coming? It made me feel rather guilty that I haven't done any, because there's been so much to talk about, hasn't there? What are we going to talk about in this one? Well, we've obviously got to talk about Rally Finland and really what we might see this week, because it's a different Rally Finland, obviously. We're almost into October. Normally, we're end of July, early August, so we're 2 months behind where we would normally be. So we'll talk about Rally Finland. I also want to talk about Craig Breen. Craig Breen was at Rally Day on Saturday, and I had a very, very good chat with Craig Breen. I want to talk about Craig Breen and really what I think he should be doing next year. And then I want to talk about the calendar. We haven't got a confirmed calendar yet for next year. And you know what? There are a few interesting rumours circulating as to what might be on the calendar. So we'll discuss that. And then finally, listen, for all you armchair experts out there, and I kind of count myself as one of you. I'm part of the armchair expert brigade. You know what? Betting on rallying. It's something that we've never really been able to do properly, have we? Well, all of that has changed. I have found this fabulous site. Now, what I would say before we go any further is that, you have to bet responsibly, whether you're betting on rallying or any other sport. But here's the thing, yes, I can have the odd flutter on the horses, on the soccer, on rugby, on cricket. I know nothing about those sports, but I still enjoy a flutter and I expect to lose. With this site, we're talking about things I know about and things that you guys know about. So, you know what? The odds are always in favour of the bookmaker. But when we've got a sport like rallying that we know inside out, and when we're being offered odds that require a little bit of knowledge to work out what's going to happen, I think it kind of swings the balance towards us, the punters. And anything that swings the balance towards us, the punters, has to be a good thing. So I've found this wonderful site. I'm going to talk about that and give you some odds for Rally Finland right at the end of this little kitchen table. So where do we start? Well, clearly we start with Rally Finland. Kicks off in a few days' time. What I've done is I've had a look at the weather forecast. This time of year in Finland, quite literally, we could expect any kind of weather. It could be dry, it could be relatively mild, it could be wet, it could be freezing, it could be snowy. What we're going to get is somewhere in between. If you're going along and you're thinking, well, what do I pack? What do I take with me? Think Rally GB late November, early December. So it'll look beautiful, those beautiful autumnal colours, but it could be very wet. Could be a little bit chilly in the mornings, even a little frosty. We might see a little bit of ice around. But the forecast for today, which is Tuesday, Wednesday, looks really good. We might see some rain come Saturday, Sunday. Nothing too extreme in terms of temperature or weather. What does that mean for the rally? Well, do you know what? It means the roads will be a little softer. The big roads, I think they'll be fine. Remember, Finland is a combination of these big, wide, fast-flowing roads, the typical yumpy Finnish roads, and these smaller roads. And they put more of the smaller roads in recent years to bring the average speed down. It's something that you can agree or disagree with. We actually had George Donaldson on our Dirtfish Spin the Rally pod yesterday, and I think he said it was when he was there in the early 80s that they introduced the small roads. Before that, it was all big roads. They introduced the small roads. Now, I'm not entirely sure why they were introduced, but I know now that they use more of them because as the average speed creeps up, they've got to keep that average speed down. What do? Put them onto the slower roads. So the slower roads for me could be what defines this rally. I think the fast roads will behave more or less as we would see on a normal Rally Finland, more or less. Yes, the temperatures potentially are going to be an awful lot cooler. I don't think we'll see an awful lot in the way of, if you like, in how the road develops from one pass to the next. Not the fast ones. I think it'll be different on the soft roads, on the little roads. As they turn off those big roads onto the small roads, into that soft, sandy kind of surface that you've got there, we could easily see, particularly if there's some rain, we could see a lot of mud, we could see big ruts developing. It may well be that road position becomes an issue on the Friday, particularly on those smaller sections. Normally road position in Finland doesn't count for a huge amount. You get up to speed and you keep the speed, you keep the momentum. Yes, there's a small amount of cleaning and a little advantage normally to be further back down the field in Finland. Could be the same here, could be the same, and if it is the same, maybe that will favour the likes of, well, Craig Breen, but Craig Breen isn't so far down, is he? Because he's had a couple of really good results. But maybe the returning Esa-Pekka Lappi, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Road position might favour him. Lots of other things will go against Lappi. But, I think the road conditions are going to be very, very interesting this weekend. It will be fascinating to watch and see how the road develops. As I say, I'm not expecting a huge amount of anything new in terms of developments on the roads. With the fast roads, the slower roads, the smaller roads could be where this rally is won or lost. It's the cars that are set up to deal with that real extreme of fast flowing, jumping stages, and you've got to have your suspension nice and soft in the car, just absolutely zinging from corner to corner. But it's also got to work on the tight, gnarly, rutted, slower stuff. Now, who's got that compromise right? Well, historically, it's been Toyota, hasn't it? Toyota unbeaten in the Uvascular region. Yes, they were beaten, obviously, at the start of the year when we went up to Rovaniemi. Unbeaten, though, Toyota in the Uvascular region. I fully expect them to maintain that record. I cannot see the Hyundais making big enough strides this week to get anywhere near the Toyotas. And I mean anywhere near them. I think it could be carnage for Hyundai out there this weekend. There's every chance we will have a podium lockout from Toyota. You've got Kalle Rovanpera, who is absolutely flying right now. He's full of confidence, 2 wins from 3. He's had his difficult spell at the start of the year. It was, 4 rallies where things were going badly wrong. He has learned from that, and he's a kid that learns remarkably quickly. Puts things behind him very quickly, but he takes the learnings forward. Doesn't dwell on anything, but he learns. He won't let anything sit at the back of his mind and gnaw away at him. Those 4 rallies, maybe some people beginning to question. It wasn't all his fault, clearly. There were a couple of mistakes there. There were some mechanical problems there. But he's learned from all of that. And what we saw clearly when we were in Estonia, even the performance in Ypres. Listen, he was the fastest of the Toyotas in Ypres. Who'd have put money on that? I wouldn't have. And then we went to Greece, and perhaps the best performance of Rovanpera's life. It was astonishing. The Saturday morning in Greece was astonishing. Sunday morning was pretty impressive as well when he had 2 hard compound tyres on his Toyota. Listen, he's flying. I can't see him being beaten. I really can't. It's coming so easily right now to Kalle Rovanpera. He is full of confidence. It's in his own backyard. The other thing that will slightly favour him is the fact that we have, around about 70-75%, I believe, of the route is new. So it's more of a level playing field. If we've been going back to stages that the likes of Evans, and Ogier, Tanak, and others knew like the back of their hands, then maybe Rovanpera might have been at a slight disadvantage. But he isn't, because these stages are more or less new to everyone, certainly a fair percentage of them, and as if Rovanpera needed any help with this one. He doesn't. He absolutely doesn't. He is full, as I say, of confidence. We're in Toyota's backyard. They'll have tested. I talked about these, the wide, fast roads and the slower, tighter roads. When Hyundai tested, you've got to pick your test road, and you've got to pick your test road that you think represents the majority of the rally, and the majority of the rally is the faster flowing roads. So certainly when I was out there last year testing, the 3 Hyundai test roads that I saw were all typical fast flowing roads, part of Onimpoja, part of a stage near, Korpilahti, all good roads, all fantastic roads, all representative roads, but not a lot of the Najeri stuff. Toyota, on the other hand, well, they're based in Uvascular. Their testing area is in that region. They've got plenty of Najeri little roads to go and test the setup to get that compromise right. And I think that's what we'll see this weekend. I think we will see, yet again, Rovanpera reasserting his claim to be the successor to Sebastian Ogier next year. You know, if I was the others, I'd be frightened. If I was Tanak, he might have a great car next year. He's going to have a great battle. If he does have a great car next year, he's going to have a great battle with a number of drivers. Rovanpera will be the one, I think, to beat them. Apologies. Apologies if you can hear a strange rumbling noise in the background. Oi, dog. Oi. Oi. The dog is snoring. The dog is snoring. The dog snores worse than I do. And that I'll tell you, is something. What was I saying? Yeah, you know, the Toyotas this weekend are going to be really, really quick. You know, I think Rovanpera will be the man to beat. I also think that we might see something a bit special from Evans. You know, okay, Evans is miles behind in the championship hunt now. And he needs a bit of luck. He needs an awful lot of luck. He needs things basically to go wrong for the champ, and they won't, because he's too intelligent, Sebastian Ogier, to allow anything to go wrong. But listen, you know, strange things happening in the world right now. We've seen drivers missing events in the past. Remember, Loeb missed the last 2 or 3 rounds of the season way back in 2005, 2006, when he fell off his mountain bike. COVID, we've seen drivers in Formula One missing events because of COVID. All gets a little bit nervy towards the end of the season with COVID, you know, particularly if things are getting a bit tight in the title race. So it's not beyond Evans yet, but he needs a result here. And I think we will see something special from Evans here. I think Ogier will take a more measured approach. He doesn't have to win this one. We've heard, again, referencing Loeb, we've heard Sebastian Loeb saying that, you know, everyone wants to win Finland. But to win Finland, you absolutely have to be on it, on the door handles, pushing every meter of every stage. You have to be pushing, and it's risk to risk to risk to risk, and the jeopardy is enormous. And Loeb basically said once he'd won it, that's it for me, you know, thank you very much. You know, the intensity of that effort to win Rally Finland was something supreme. And Loeb, you know, Ogier's done it, and he doesn't have to do it this time. He doesn't have to do it. So I think Ogier will take a measured approach, and we'll see where he ends up. Katsuta-san, the fourth of our Toyotas, you know, he's had a tough old time of it the last few rallies, with co-drivers dropping out and having to stop in Estonia when he was looking good. This was the target rally for Katsuta-san. He knew coming into this event, certainly at the start of the year, he would be really primed for maybe the best performance of the season from him. And I think he can do something special, even although he's had a bit of a stop-start season so far. Then we've got to talk about the fifth car, Esa-Pekka Lappi. Esa-Pekka Lappi, magnificent in the Rally 2 car this year. He's absolutely blown everyone out of the water whenever he's turned up, but it's a different kettle of fish. When you turn up in these World Rally cars, Monza was his last event. Don't expect too much from Lappi. He was very, very fast in testing. Eventually, you know, when he got to know the road, when he got comfortable, when he got confident, when he could trust the aero, I think Lappi may struggle a little bit this weekend. Top 5, top 6 for Lappi, very possible. And that would be quite some result. There is not a lot of pressure on Lappi. The start of the year in the Rally 2 car, he had to show what he could do. He did show what he could do. He earned the contract. Now, I don't think it's been confirmed yet. Everyone knows Lappi is there next year at Toyota. So there's no pressure on him. It's getting back into the car. It's refamiliarizing himself with the car, with the team. Good experience for next year's Rally Finland. You know, Lappi has no real incentive to absolutely push things to the limit. Lappi has to just bring this car home safely and put in a decent performance. And I think a decent performance from Lappi could put pressure on some of the Hyundais. We haven't talked about the Hyundais. It's a huge event for them. You know, Thierry Neuville told me at the end of Greece, look, you know, driver's title, more or less gone. Manufacturer's title, more or less the same thing, gone. That's a desperate thing to say with 3 rounds to go. But they still have rallies to win. You know, if you're saying we're not going to win a title this year, then you've got to win rallies. You've got to deliver value. You've got to deliver something back to the manufacturer. But they ain't going to win this one. They can write this one off as far as I'm concerned. It will take the most remarkable set of circumstances for Hyundai to win in Finland this week. It really will. It will take the most remarkable set of circumstances. I can't see them getting on the podium. Maybe a driver will get on the podium. Listen, we've seen technical problems for Latvala in the past in Finland in the Toyota. We saw technical problems for Evans last time out in Greece. It'll take something like that for a couple of Toyotas, I think, for the Hyundais. They have never gone well in Finland, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but even going back to the pre-2017 cars, you know, though the first of the World Rally cars that we saw Hyundai bringing into the championship never went well in Finland. We're miles off the pace. And it's not really got an awful lot better over the years. And I don't see it getting any better this year. They'll be quick on certain sections. They definitely made improvements. That week of testing, 3, 4, 5 days testing they did in Finland last year before what was due to be Rally Finland that was ultimately cancelled. You know, they definitely found something there and there was a step forward. You know, can they take that into the event? Yeah, sure they can. They were quick in, obviously, Estonia. We saw that. Rovanpera was ultimately quicker, but they were quick. But, you know, Estonia is different. Same, very different. Same, very, very different. Estonia, the only jumps in Estonia are man-made jumps. You know, they don't have the same topography. You don't have the same up and down. You know, the cars are set up quite differently. You know, when you're running through you know, a stage in Finland, you've got to be able to handle the high-speed jumps, and the balance has got to be right. The car has to be capable of almost moving in the air. You've got to set it up right. You don't have that same requirement in Estonia. So yes, it's high-speed gravel, but it's a completely different rally. So I don't think, unfortunately, we can be particularly optimistic about Hyundai's chances based on what we've seen in Estonia. Could be a difficult rally for them. It really could. Who could be the star there, though? Well, Tanak could. He's due a good result. He's due some luck. Let's give him that much. Tanak's due some luck. But he's a driver who I think is struggling right now. I think he's struggling not with self-confidence. Tanak has never, ever lacked self-confidence. I just think he's struggling with the whole scenario that he finds himself in. You know, he's not used to it. He is a driver who has dominated, not in the same way that Loban Ogier dominated, but in his championship winning year, he dominated every other driver. He was like the alpha male of the WRC pack, and he strutted around like he owned the stages. He could pick and choose stage wins, pick and choose rally wins, and ultimately he looked unbeatable in the Toyota. And he ultimately went on and won the World Championship. You know, he knows he's got it, but he struggled. He struggled last year. He's struggling again this year. And that cockiness, that which you need to have, listen, you need to have to contest every rally at this level. You know, it's slightly slipping. It's slightly slipping, and it's changing from, you know, an energetic, positive, cocky arrogance into something a little more sinister. You know, he's just getting frustrated. Dare I say angry? He doesn't get angry. He's more clever than that. Anger's not a great emotion. It's a waste of energy. But things don't look great right now for Ott Tanak. And he he'll be looking for some results before the end of the year, but he'll be looking very much forward to the 2022 car. They better get that right. Otherwise, Tanak, I hate to think what kind of mood we might see him in next year. Tanak might do well. Similarly, let's have a look at Thierry Neuville. Yeah, you know, I don't know. I mean, these drivers are all capable of winning Finland, but do they have the tools to win it? Don't know. The other driver who has the tools to win it, who is really probably more confident in his own ability right now than he has ever been, is Craig Breen. And I said we'd come on to Craig Breen. Craig Breen has been superb this year. Okay, you know, let's forget about. He's had 4 outings. He was in Rovaniemi. He was in Croatia. Croatia was a bit of a disaster, but you want a tarmac rally, if you start badly when you're just being parachuted in, you ain't coming back. You ain't coming back from it. If you jump out the airplane with a parachute and you're off track and you're a million miles away from the landing zone, you're not going to get back. You know, it just doesn't happen. And that's what happened in Croatia. He started badly and it just got progressively worse. And his confidence was just shot after Croatia. But my goodness, he bounced back, didn't he? He bounced back. And when we went to, where did we go to? We went to, what was the next one he did? He went to, well, he did very, very well on the tarmac. If we talk about tarmac, he did extremely well when we went to Ypres, and then obviously did exceptionally well in Estonia. I'm trying to remember things. My brain is just going at times. Estonia and Ypres, 2 remarkable results. A driver who is driving as well as he's ever driven, more confidence than he's ever had. Is that enough to overcome the potential woes of the Hyundai World Rally car. It could be. Throw in the fact that he's not got too bad a starting position as well. We don't really know how the road's going to evolve. It may evolve in his favour. Breen showed in Estonia, Breen showed in Ypres that he is very, very capable of dealing with the pace that's required to win rallies. And do you know what? I've said it right from the start of Breen's career. He is a crawler, not a sprinter. He crawls up that slope of performance, that slope of confidence, that slope towards the very top. You're ascending towards the summit, and at the summit, it's World Championship wins. Yeah, and Breen just takes his time, crawling towards it, little gains, but always gaining, never just going straight along, and never going down the way, or rarely going down. Someone like Rovanpera, well, he is a sprinter, poof, straight up to the top, makes huge strides. But Breen is a man who just takes little steps. And the little steps he's taken this year have taken him, I think, to rally winning pace and confidence. So why hasn't he got a deal yet for next year? Well, we don't know. We don't know if he's got a deal. But I'll tell you one thing now. Toyota will be strong next year. M Sport will be strong next year. Hyundai will be desperate to claim a title, either a driver's or a manufacturer's next year. And I'll tell you their strongest team. Tanak, Neuville, Breen. Strongest team. Has to be the strongest team. You know, Mr. Adamo has already said to me, not confirmed anything for next year, but he doesn't see the rotation of drivers being so effective next year because these new cars will be so different. You know, the gain you get from road position will be completely wiped out by the lack of seat time. Consistent seat time will be worth more than a road position gain next year. So from that, we can perhaps surmise that there'll be 3 full-time drivers there next year. Breen is the man. We talked earlier on about M Sport. About the likes of, I suppose, Mikkelsen, Lappi we know is now off the market, even Hayden Padden, Mads Osberg, all these drivers who are desperate for for a full-time return to the World Rally Championship. And Breen was very much one of them. Breen is the only one that is jumping up and down and saying, pick me. He has to have a seat for next year. He has to have a full-time seat for next year. And I'm hoping we'll hear very, very soon. I'm sure we will hear all about Craig Breen's plans very, very soon. But, for me, Hyundai, he's got to be the choice for that third seat. Surely he has. But then again, M Sport, they don't have any other choice. He's got to be the choice for the full-time seat there as well. What a wonderful position to be in for Craig Breen, having fought so tenaciously over the years for seat time, for drives, for budget, spending his own family money to drive cars. To be in a position now where ultimately he's your pick. He's your pick, Mr. Adamo. He's your pick, Mr. Wilson. Take your pick, Mr. Breen. That's what I say. Hopefully, anyway. Let's wait and see. Now, so that's Rally Finland. That's Craig Breen. Third of the topics I wanted to talk to you all about was the calendar for next year. Fingers crossed we'll get some news very soon. Listen, we've had 5 or 6 events confirmed. We've had a number of events with question marks next to them. Listen, I got to take my hat off to certain people who have kept this championship going. I'm going to mention a name, which a lot of you who know me will be surprised I'm going to mention. And I don't think you'll mind me mentioning his name. There's a chap who works for the promoter called Simon Larkin. Now, Simon and I haven't always seen eye to eye, that's fair to say. But my goodness me, in terms of cajoling, in terms of pushing and pulling and bullying rallies and making calendars, he has made it work this year and even towards the end of last year. And you know what? We've had a great season. The calendar, with all of the pressures of COVID, of travel restrictions, of lateral bloody flow tests, it has worked. And in no small part, that is down to Simon Larkin. Mr. Larkin, chapeau to you. Hats off, fella. But they've got a job to do for next year. We have been very European-centric. We haven't gone outside of Europe last time we went was Rally Mexico, and that was a curtailed rally. We need to see a roadmap out, and a roadmap out as countries begin to accept that COVID is going to be around for a long time. You know, there is a way back to normality. We're never going to get rid of it, certainly not in the near future, but we are going to find a way to work with COVID. Sporting championships also have to recognize that, and they have to start, you know, getting back to some degree of normality. And when I say normality, it means normality in a calendar sense. It means normality in an everyday sense of how the rallies run. We're still running rallies under very, very, very strict Appendix S regimes that the FIA introduced rightly 12, 14 months ago to allow us to continue, the sports to continue. Those Appendix S regulations have not changed in 14 months, and the world has changed. We need a roadmap out because it's quite restricting. I have no problems with, you know, Appendix S has meant that we've been able to rally. Fabulous. But, you know, we need to be able to do more around rallies. As a media company, Dirtfish need to be able to do more. As any media organisation, you need to be able to do more. And as long as we can get some sort of roadmap out, that's great. But the most important thing, that's a very personal thing, by the way. Perhaps I shouldn't have mentioned that. Because I'm sure for you rally fans, it's not made an awful lot of difference back home. But what has made a difference to everyone, and a lot of you around the world, is this lack of, if you like, this lack of diversity. And rallying is all about diversity. You know, we have been European-centric. We need to get back to the Americas. We need to get back to the Asia-Pacific region. We need to get back to China, and China maybe, but certainly Japan. And to do that, we need to move forward. And there will be a calendar at some point, I'm sure, very, very shortly. We need to have 2 or 3 long hauls. Now, the interesting thing for me, and it did take me a little bit by surprise, 2 of the most locked down countries during this COVID pandemic have been Australia and New Zealand, both of which have got roadmaps out of their lockdowns, which is great to see. Australia in particular is looking like it may well open up end of this year, early next year. New Zealand may be a little bit behind them. But, you know, a couple of weeks ago, I heard very strong rumours that either Australia or New Zealand would be included in next year's calendar. So I thought I'd have a little look. Yeah, New Zealand, bang on. If their borders are open, they have a very dynamic team at Rally New Zealand. We were very close to going to New Zealand last year. They've got a great route. They've got a team behind them. They've got a base. They've got an incredible power stage, Jack's Ridge, I think it's called. Purpose-built, fantastic. All looks as if it's set up, green light, ready to go. Their social media channels are working overtime. It all looks great. And then look at Rally Australia, and this pains me because I honestly think that my favourite place in the world to go rallying is Australia. I think the rallying community in Australia is probably amongst the best in the world, right up there with New Zealand, with 1 or 2 others. They have some wonderful competitors, some unbelievable rallies. And your Rally Australia has always been right up there with my favourite event. But I had a little look, and all right, let's talk about us going to Bathurst. Social media, Rally Australia, what are you doing? What are you doing? You had the best Instagram feed in the championship, the best Facebook page, the best Twitter page, with enormous followings that you'd invested a huge amount of money in building up. And they're not just dormant, they're dead. They're dead. And what does that say? What does that say? You know, I know the world doesn't evolve around social media, but it almost does. New Zealand, all guns blazing, social media wise. Australia, nah, nothing happening with a web page. Can we read much into that? I think we can. I think we can. And if I had to bet right now, I would bet that we're going to New Zealand next year and not Australia, sadly, my favourite place in the world. Rally Australia organisers, get your together. Let's start seeing a little bit of movement. You invested a lot of time and money in those social media channels. If you're serious about a return to the championship, tell us you're serious about it. Let's see it, Rally Australia. Now, did I mention they're betting? I think I did now. I mentioned at the start, didn't I? Putting my glasses on because I can't read my screen without it. I have come across, or I've been introduced, I'm not a gambler, but I do like occasionally to have a little look at odds, as you well know. You'll know I've talked about odds in the past. And I was introduced to this site. We've seen various sites appearing over the years in rallying that have offered us very specialist odds. And they've disappeared almost as quickly as they've turned up. And you know what? Most of them just didn't offer what you would want. If you're a fan of rallying, if you've got a bit of knowledge, you want to think that your knowledge allows you to have the upper hand over the betting companies. It allows you to make a little bit of money, have a little bit of fun. And as I say, any bets you take, folks, do them responsibly. I really wouldn't recommend anything more than 20, 30 euros over the course of a weekend. But for 20 or 30 euros, boy, you can have some fun. And where you have to go is autosport.guru.wrc. Sorry. autosport.guru/WRC. And you know what I'm going to do? As I'm saying that to you, I'm just going to check that now. So it's autosport, as in autosport.guru/WRC. And that brings you to a site that is quite wondrous as a rally fan. There are all sorts of odds here, all sorts of odds, and it gets me really excited. So what you can do, you can bet on clearly winners. You can bet on winners for stages, you can bet on winners for days, for legs, you can bet on winners within a team, you can bet on which team's going to win, you can bet on which team's going to win the most stages. There's all sorts. You can bet driver against driver. Is Takamoto going to beat Esa-Pekka Lappi? If you want to bet on that, it offers you the odds. But I talked about Craig Breen. Craig Breen's are the odds that I really like. I really like the Craig Breen's odds. So you go to autosport.guru, G-U-R-U/WRC, autosport.guru, G-U-R-U/WRC, and you get all these options. You get options on day one, you get options on the whole rally. So let's talk about the whole rally odds. As you would expect, Kalle Rovanpera, favourite, 3-2. Basically means you get 1.5 times your money back. Oik Tanak, 2-1. Yeah, reasonably generous. You double your money on Tanak. Ogier, 13-2. Is he worth a little punt at 13-2? That is 6.5 to 1. If you bet €1, 6.5 euros back. That's generous on Ogier. But as we've already talked about, Ogier might be driving to a different strategy. I like Elfyn Evans' odds. Elfyn Evans, 11-1. 11-1 on Elfyn Evans. Now, if Rovanpera has a fault-free rally, Evans ain't going to win. But as we know in rallying, anything can happen. Anything can happen. It can turn around like that. So, what will we say? Elfyn Evans, 11-1 to win. Well, we're going to assume that Rovanpera is going to take the win. So what we look at next on this wonderful site, top 2. So for Evans to finish in the top 2, the odds clearly come down, but they come down to 4-1. To me, that's generous. That's generous. 4-1 that Evans will finish in the top 2. Pretty generous. 4 times your money. Okay, so maybe, who knows? Maybe who might finish ahead of Evans? Maybe Ogier will finish ahead of Evans. So Evans might finish in the top 3. Well, we've got odds on that as well. 5-2. That is generous. 5-2. 2.5 to 1. So that's 2.5 euros for every euro you bet. And all Evans has to do is finish in the top 3. What do you reckon, guys? I reckon that's great odds. That's great odds. But Craig Breen to finish in the top 3. 13-7. So that's just a little less than 2-1. So it's getting, for your euro, you get just under 2 euros. So you win just under 2 euros on your Craig Breen to finish in the top 3. Yeah, I'm not sure, having said all that about Hyundai. My point is, folks, there are some unbelievable odds here. Best Hyundai driver, Oik Tanak, 3-4. So you're getting just under a euro for a winner for euro. You get your bet back plus just under a euro for Oik Tanak to be the best Hyundai driver. Oik Tanak, best Hyundai driver. You can even bet on the yes or no. It's like the flip of a coin. Is he going to be the best Hyundai driver? Yes or no? Ping, you can bet on that. Best Toyota driver, Kalle Rovanpera, 3-5 again. It's not generous odds, but if you think he's going to win. Now, you can also bet on the winning margin. Winner by 10 seconds or more, Kalle Rovanpera, 13-5, 2.5 to 1 again, or thereabouts. What else have we got down here? Winner by 20 seconds or more. If you think Rovanpera is going to win, there's every chance he's going to win by 20 seconds or more. What are the odds on that? Winning margin, 20 seconds or more, 7-2, 3.5 to 1. Oh, folks, there are a myriad of odds. If, like me, you think you've got a bit of nous when it comes to rallying, take a look at this website. Autosport, it's nothing to do with the Autosport magazine, by the way. It's just how you get there. www.autosport.guru/ WRC. autosport.guru/WRC. That will take you through to the site that you need to go on to have a little bet on the WRC. I'm having a little bet this weekend, restricting it to €20 though. Bet responsibly, folks. Very responsibly. Never bet more than you can afford to lose. Because at the end of the day, much as we know a little bit about rallying, we think we've got chances of winning. More often than not, it's the bookmakers that are driving the Range Rovers and the Ferraris. Not us, sadly. But anyway, it's a good bit of fun, isn't it? But never more than you can afford to lose. So folks, listen, talking about losing things, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think of the beard? Do you think it's getting a bit long? A few comments about the beard getting a bit long. Someone said, if you're from the UK and you've watched a little bit of football in the past, someone said it looks a bit Jimmy Hill-like. I wasn't too happy with that. I was thinking a bit more George Clooney, hopefully, but I'm not really getting much of that, sadly. The beard, does it stay or does it go? Let me know in the comments below the video. Guys, thank you very much for joining me today. We've talked a lot, haven't we? We've talked an awful lot about various things. We're going to go and enjoy Rally Finland. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, I'm going to make it worth it for you. I really am. I'm going to do a lot more of these videos. So please press the subscribe button. Press the like as well. If you're watching on Facebook, give it a little share. That would be lovely too. But leave comments. Comments are always great and I'll do my best to answer them. Particularly about this, the beardy. The beardy. Do we take it off? Do we leave it on? If someone wins? I tell you what. What do I think? If Rovanpera wins, do we take the beard and all the hair off? That's a possibility. Let me know what you think. I'm not going swimming naked in any lakes, right? Don't ask me to do that because I won't be doing it. Not in front of cameras anyway. Folks, thank you for joining me again at, a belated kitchen table. We're all looking forward to Rally Finland. I'll see you all after Rally Finland to discuss what went on. We'll see you next week.